Super Bowl game week Monday. That is right. We are less than 1 week away from the Chiefs taking down the Philadelphia Eagles in Arizona for Super Bowl 57. It is opening night this evening. Opening night. Chiefs will go second. The Eagles will go first.
You save the best for last.
And it should be interesting tonight. I'm excited for it.
I need Frank Clark on a live mic.
I think they're going to be chill, man.
That's my requirement for tonight. Is I need Frank Clark on a live mic.
He's on a podium, so he will actually say something. He won't just be there so he doesn't get fined. I love
Still, the funniest thing ever was Marshawn doing that.
We've got so much to get to today, the rest of this week, leading into the game on Sunday. Jacob on Fulton Caster with you. We're going to talk with Adam Teicher down in Arizona today. We'll get to that coming up at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk Eagles. We're going to talk the Eagles defense, but more so people that they've played against. The Eagles defense. Have they actually gone up against anybody good? What about those passing attacks that are really, really good? We'll get into that. We will touch on opening night. We are going to have our Super Bowl prop bet of the day every day this week. All right? So we're going to be throwing a lot of them at you. They might be more football-centric early on and then get a little bit
all the
weird.
wacky ones come out later in the week.
Yeah.
So early on here, it's going to be about the game.
Yeah.
I can promise you from at least my side, we're going to get wild by the end of the week.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll get to that. We'll actually get some experts as well, plus our opinions. So we got a lot to talk about on this edition of Mic'd Up. As always, hit us up on our Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429 outside of Topeka, 785-272-9429. We'll talk a little hoops because it was a rough one for the Sunflower State on Saturday. And it might even be rougher if it doesn't go the way of one Sunflower school this evening.
I don't want to talk about it.
We're going to talk about it.
I don't want to.
And that's all right. You can just listen and I'll talk. But we'll get to that. But we'll get to that coming up today as well. The Kansas City Chiefs are in the Super Bowl despite going transition. We've talked about this a lot. This a lot. There are few key guys in each run, if you will, when you try to make multiple Super Bowls. Because you can't do it. Can't keep everybody. As we found out this weekend, T. Higgins wants
bye-bye, buddy.
a ton of money.
Which I can't blame him. He's a number one wide receiver for every other team.
Yeah, exactly. And what did I say? I said I would pay T. Higgins and trade Jamar Chase. I've gone on record in saying that because I think Higgins. Well, I thought Higgins would be cheaper. He might not be. He might just.
Yeah, you might be paying a lot of money no matter who it is. So just pick which guy you like better.
Yep. So this was interesting coming from Sports Illustrated, and it is great stuff from Albert Breer. And it's a real in-depth look on what the Kansas City Chiefs were trying to do with Patrick Mahomes from the very, very beginning when they drafted Patrick Mahomes. It is very detailed on when they started, what they planned on doing, and how they were going to go forward with trying to have your big guy on a rookie deal and then move it after. Now he's on a big cap hit. That's the number one aspect now for a general manager when you've got the guy at quarterback. You need to take advantage of it when he's on a rookie deal, and then how do you transition when he's going to be making $50 million a year? That's essentially the NFL right now. The Kansas City Chiefs took advantage of it. They went to 2 Super Bowls and won a Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes on his rookie deal. But it's incredible now how we're getting more on how the sausage was made from guys like Brant Tillis. Brant Tillis was one of the lead negotiators and one of the salary cap guys for the Kansas City Chiefs. And he said this to Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated, quote, "Look, we just drafted a quarterback in the first round, so we need to start thinking about his next contract, like right now, and start planning for him to be great." That was 14 months before the Chiefs even made Patrick Mahomes the starter. He said that when John Dorsey was still the GM. That is how forward thinking these Chiefs front office guys have been. If we just took a guy in the first round, we trust that our scouting department and our front office got it right. He's going to be the guy. We got to figure it out now. And it's incredible at how they knew that going forward. And then during his first year as a starter, they point out, well, he's going to win the MVP, so we got to start doing this right away. This peels back the curtain a little bit. And to me, it's a very lengthy piece. But the two things that I want to take away from this were, one, they were trading Tyreek Hill from the get-go. I really do think there was no chance that he was going to remain a Kansas City Chief player.
I think the only chance that after reading this, looking more, because this just, and this is great from Albert Breer, and I implore any of you to seek it out. It's great to understand that their plan was, in this second phase, they got about 3 to 4 guys that they can pay. And I think they identified early, they're not going to throw $30 million at wideouts anymore.
Nope.
They do not have it does not fit within the plan to make this team as good as it can be. So the only way Tyreek Hill was going to stay if he took less money. If Hill was willing to still be one of the higher paid wide receivers in the league, but not the highest paid, I think he would still be here. But Tyreek Hill, and all power to him. This is not to take a shot at him.
No.
Wanted his bag? Go get it, my man. Go do it.
See, and I don't even think it would be, well, he can't be one of the top. I think it was gone. And that's why.
And that's definitely possible as well.
In this piece, it says, maybe you don't have $30 million to throw at a wide receiver, but you better get good wideouts that can provide him, that you can't provide him with nothing. So it's a double-edged sword. I think he was gone. I think the Chiefs played it so well behind the doors that they got the absolute most from Tyreek Hill because he was not going to be a Kansas City Chief. Judging from what they have said in this piece, it is that from the moment that he became an MVP, we are on our path. We got to make this work. And they started early on, contacting baseball agents, contacting basketball agents who did long, big-term deals. And we talk about how the flexibility of all of this, and there's a lot of people who say, oh, it was stupid of Mahomes to take this. He could have made a lot more money. As they break it down, and we always talk about how flexible it is.
Yeah, we do.
How you can take that, the salary cap, spread it over 5 years and lower it, turn it into a roster bonus so it doesn't count against the cap, so you can make a ton. You are kicking the can down the road. But as they pointed out in this, it's almost a fully guaranteed contract.
Yeah.
Everybody points out, oh, well, he got X amount of money guaranteed up front, which was like 160 or 150 or something like that. But what people don't realize, it's not considered guaranteed because the Kansas City Chiefs have the option of going away from it every single year, but they're not going to, because if they do, then they're going to end up with like 50 million in dead cap, which they're not going to do. Therefore, it really is a $400 million guaranteed contract without it being black and white, because there are options. They can cut Patrick Mahomes. It's not as if, oh yeah, but every year that he's agrees to up the, or okay with it, that the next year's contract is guaranteed. So that's why it is a brilliant contract with that, but that's not talked about enough, that it is almost a fully guaranteed contract. But the other thing in this piece that Albert Breer points out is there's 3 pillars to this team. And that's the other thing. One, Tyreek Hill is not going to be signed. They were going to trade him pretty much no matter what. But the second thing, when you look at what he says in this bit, it says here, so while Travis Kelce and Chris Jones are still around, Frank Clark took a bit of a cap hit and less money. Tyreek Hill was traded. Then they keep going forward, and it says here, we're at a point now where these kids are growing up. They're fans of Mahomes, Jones, and Kelce, Veach says. So when they get there, they're immediately in awe. And on the defensive side, you're playing with Chris Jones. They have mentioned Kelce, Jones, and Mahomes. Veach did, and I don't think I think that's how he views it, and he's just saying what he believes. But Chris Jones is a pillar of this team, which is why he will be re-signed. That's the other thing, because we don't know what Chris Jones is going to end up doing. Next year's his last year under contract. Now, they can have him play on a $30 million contract and then franchise tag him, I guess. So he's here. He's going to be here for the next 2 years no matter what.
Yeah.
But reading this and how that Brett Veach talked about building a team and how when you play with Patrick Mahomes, you up your level because Mahomes is so good. Chris Jones is basically that on the defensive side. And that's, to me, the biggest takeaway is that they were going to trade Tyreek Hill no matter what. Deep down inside, they had talks that we're not going to pay a wide receiver $25 million. We're not going to pay a wide receiver $20 million. We're not. What we're going to do is we're going to get guys who are either rookies or middle of the road free agents. MVS is not a great player, but he's not terrible. And it cost you $20 million guaranteed over 3 years. That's, I think, the guys that they're going to try to get. Same thing with Juju Smith-Schuster. They went and they traded for a guy that they think could be good in Kadarius Toney. Like you're seeing, that's why I don't think there's zero chance Tyreek Hill is going to be on this team. Zero. And now I think it's a guarantee that Chris Jones is going to get a contract extension. You don't mention Mahomes, Jones, and Kelce this many times in this type of interview and this type of discussion on how you're building the next wave unless you think Chris Jones is part of the Mahomes, Jones, and Kelce. Mahomes, Jones, and Kelce, that little 5-word phrase there, Mahomes and Jones and Kelce, is written about 4 times in this piece. So I think they are going to restructure or extend Chris Jones, drop that cap hit this year, knock it down a little bit, and then we know the big time cap increase was this year. It was a big one. It's up to $226 million for the cap, I believe, coming up next year. And then next year, it's going to go up even more when more of the contracts with NBC, CBS, and Fox go up. And then it's going to go up even more when they get the new Sunday ticket with whoever. And it's going to go up more. Like, that's the thing about this. That's why I think they're going to extend Jones. And those 3 are the pillars of this franchise. That's who they are leaning on for this team. And it's a great piece. I urge you to check it out at Sports Illustrated. They made this. They were in talks before he even took a snap as a starter. How are we going to do this?
And the great part of that is that LSU identify that everything the Chiefs are. We always talk about we're okay with what a team tries to do as long as there's a plan and we understand the plan. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs' plan is now solely identified in what they have called phase 2 of the contract and phase 2 of this Mahomes era in Kansas City. It's not that they won't pay anyone not named Patrick Mahomes. It's they're just going to pay fewer guys big deals. It's very selective at who gets those. And then they moved into you need a lot of draft picks to do it, to get a lot of shots at home ground. They mentioned in the trade for Tyreek Hill, there's a reason when the Jets offered basically just it was like number 10 or something overall. It was a really high pick. The Chiefs and me, they're just like, we're not even considering this because they didn't care about the quality. It was the quantity because it gives you more chances because the Chiefs have also identified they're not just going to draft guys because they have these really high ceilings. They're willing to draft a guy with maybe a slightly lower ceiling, but he has the right character traits to fit into the culture in Kansas City to maximize potential. They have really thought through overall what they're trying to do here and understand how to keep the window maximized, because that was always the big thing. When Mahomes' contract blows up and the cap hit gets a lot bigger, what happens? What do you do? Well, for the Chiefs, it's we're going to pay less guys. We're going to be willing to move on from certain stars if we have to. And we understand we now have a guy that can take everything from one level to a next step. If we can put good talent around him, he will make that talent great by how well he is. And the fact that they have this plan is so important and lets you understand that this is not they just kind of made a contract and it's whatever. Like, that contract was created.
It was even more detailed than we originally thought.
Yeah, we assumed.
We thought it was all money based. With the contract and the outs and all that.
We did.
Stuff.
We assumed it was just always about moving cap hits and other things. No, it's so much more nuanced than that. And it's also identifying because when this contract came out, there was so much of a talk around, you don't see 10-year deals in football. It was talking about, this is a baseball contract. That's what this is. But when you really get into the nitty-gritty, it was just a dual commitment. It was Mahomes was committing that Kansas City would be his long-term place, and he was okay with that. But the Chiefs were also committing that you're our guy for 10 years no matter what. Because in this contract, and Breer states it essentially set up that if Mahomes gets bit by this thing for whatever reason of he gets cut, trade, whatever, the Chiefs get bit too. Like this contract was created to put them both in for the long haul. And I think that's what Mahomes wanted. He's gotten without the flashy, it's fully guaranteed on the front. Mahomes maybe has the most direct investment to his future in the proper ways from any team.
And I think they're going to restructure this deal at some point in time before it's up. This is
eventually.
Be the
got
last
a lot
one.
of time on it.
Yeah, but the Chiefs are the model franchise in the NFL. It was the Patriots. Now it is the Kansas City Chiefs. Coming up, we got weekends, takeaways, and fails. We're going to talk with Adam Teicher. We're going to get to the Eagles. Just how good is their defense, and is it more so because of the people across the football? We'll get to that coming up here on this edition of Mic'd Up. My big weekend takeaways and fails are the coaches who just need to accept that the good old days are no longer there. And that is in basketball right now. There's pretty much one left with Krzyzewski gone, Roy gone,
Krzyzewski gone,
Jay
Roy
Wright,
gone, Jay.
Jim Boeheim. He basically said after a game that all of the ACC, including Wake Forest, bought their team. He said this: "It's an awful place we're in college basketball. Really, this is where we are. This is how we want it, and it's only going to get worse." That's why those guys got out. Our guys are like, "Well, we can do maybe 20 grand. Wake Forest bought a team." Well, finally, Steve Forbes said, "Nah, man," and he came out guns barreled coming at Jim Boeheim. And then today, Boeheim released a statement, says, "No, they're doing everything correctly. They're right." It's like, no, that's not what you think. The reason why you're coming out with the statement like this is to save face. Jim, just leave. Just go ahead and go. Your time is over. Nobody else. You don't see Jerome Tang. You don't see Bill Self. You don't see some of these other great coaches who have leading their teams are whining and complaining. No, like, old man, just time to move on. Time to move on. That was my fail this weekend. Like, Jim Boeheim, what? I mean, that's classic. Says what he means and really feels
then
like,
walks it back,
and then backtrack.
Coaches that don't believe players should be paid all just need to go. Like, just
I don't care if you believe it or not, but to flat out lie like this, and that's why he had to make a statement where he's like, "Yeah, I was wrong."
Jim Boeheim for it. We'll see how longer he gets to stay around. My takeaway from this weekend is a positive one. Pro Bowl games are fun now. The Pro Bowl is enjoyable to watch.
Did you like that?
Yes, I loved every minute. That flag football was entertaining. We got glimpses into the huddle, which was fun. You got to listen to football players talking shop, and those guys looked like they were having fun.
Really?
If the players are not going to play tackle football at risk of being hurt, then just make it fun. Let them be kids. It was legitimately enjoyable. I didn't have to watch a game of tackle football where people are complaining that no one's hitting hard enough. I just got to watch flag football, which was legitimately entertaining. And the better part was you got glimpses into the huddle.
Okay.
Like, you got to hear Kirk Cousins talking shop of, like, oh, I need you to do this, or no, do this, or I want you, like, that was a great glimpse for everybody. That to me was a rousing success. The skill stuff needs work, but the flag football, keep it forever.
That'll do it for weekend's takeaways and fails. Coming up next, we're going to talk with Adam Teicher. Super Bowl opening night. The Eagles will be on the podiums behind the lecterns. First, the Chiefs will be after. So it should be a fun time tonight from 8 to 9. And then from 9 to 10 will be the opening night ceremonies down in Phoenix. We got a lot to get to. We will talk more of the Eagles defense coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. But right now, we're going to talk all things Chiefs with the man who's covered the Chiefs longer than anybody. He is Adam Teicher from ESPN and ESPN.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Adam Teicher. Adam, how are things going right now? Day one of the Super Bowl down in Phoenix. Are you excited for tonight, or is tonight more annoying because you've got all the crazy people asking, what's your favorite nut? Is it cashews or peanuts or honey roasted, or is this actually you can get something from this?
Yeah, you generally don't get anything from this. That'll come later in the week. Today is more for the comic release, more for the funny stuff you see. I remember last time the Chiefs were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. That was a COVID Super Bowl, and I didn't cover that one. Hardly anybody did. But the year before in Miami, there was a guy who showed up with the Andy Reid Rams punt, pass, and kick uniform on, and he even had Reid spelled backwards on the back of his jersey, like it was on the TV broadcast. If you remember, it was spelled R-I-E-D. That's how he had it spelled. So, you see stuff like that, and I had no idea who this guy was. I regret not asking him who he was and what he was doing there, but still, it was kind of funny. So that's the kind of stuff you see, and we'll, I'm sure, see plenty of it tonight.
Do the Chiefs have the advantage because they've been to a Super Bowl more recently than the Eagles, even though there are still a couple Eagles players who were there? I know the coaching staff is different, but do the Chiefs, do you think, have the advantage because of they're a little bit more experienced in this setting with game planning? And boy, Andy Reid kind of gave a peek behind the curtain a little bit on the game plan and how it, the Super Bowl, you get an extra day to game plan, and the days are moved back a little bit. Do you think the Chiefs have that much of an advantage when it comes to this?
No, not really. I mean, I think the experience in terms of the coaching staff really helps because, this is the first time for Nick Sirianni and that group to go through something like this. But Andy Reid and his staff have done it 3 times now. But when you talk about players, I mean, the Eagles have almost as many players from their most recent Super Bowl championship as the Chiefs do from their most recent Super Bowl championship. I was watching Super Bowl 54, watching the rerun the other day, and it just struck me how many of these guys aren't there anymore, aren't with the Chiefs anymore. It's crazy. I mean, they've got, Mahomes, Kelsey, Frank Clark, Chris Jones, 2 or 3, Harrison Butker, of course, James Winchester, their long snapper, Derek Nottie, a defensive lineman. That's about it. And maybe somebody I'm forgetting here, but that's about it. I mean, the Chiefs have really turned it over fairly quickly. So I just don't know. There's a whole lot of, from a player standpoint, I don't know. There's a whole lot of advantage for the Chiefs.
Let's get to some guys who are not going to be playing. The Chiefs just made a roster move this morning, just a little bit ago, putting McCole Hardman on IR and bringing up Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Not a surprise when it comes to this, given what Andy Reid had to say. But bringing up Clyde, are you surprised they brought up a running back and not somebody else?
Well, it doesn't mean he's going to play. They don't have to make him active on Sunday. It gives them that option for sure. And they had to do something here pretty quickly because time was running out on their clock with him. So this kind of buys them more time. And I could see him being active instead of Ronald Jones possibly on Sunday, but I don't expect that he would have a huge effect on the game. And in terms of guys they can bring up now from the practice squad, they can always promote them like they normally do in a normal week. So, they have that option later on in the week. So I don't no, not surprised by this. I don't feel like, but I don't think it'll have a big impact either.
What's the hope now of really, I think 3 guys. It's Tony, Juju, and L'Jarius Sneed. Do we have any hunch on what's going to happen with those 3?
Yeah, I think the chances are decent for all those guys, particularly Tony and for Sneed. I think those 2 have the better chance. But I do think Juju's got a chance to play as well, a reasonable chance. Those guys were all at practice last week, even back in Kansas City, even though they didn't participate. But if an injured player, you didn't see, for instance, McCole Hardman there because he had no shot at playing. So, if a guy's got a shot at playing, he's going to be at practice. And, you usually just don't see injured guys at practice if he's not going to be there for the upcoming game. So that's a long-winded answer to say I think they've all got a shot. I expect Tony and L'Jarius Sneed to be out there. Juju, I'm not as sure about, but I'm guessing if I had to, which way I'd go with him, I'd say he's going to play as well.
They got an interesting decision to make because of those injuries, because, Justin Watson, I don't think, he's unstoppable, but I think he's a productive guy off the bench. But does a guy like Marcus Kemp, do you have to keep him on the roster for the game and make him active? Because you don't know if Tony's going to go down with that ankle or Juju. And then what do you do then? Do you keep, Jody Fortson on there? A lot of it, I wonder, because you can only have so many guys. You can't have everybody on the offensive side of things. How do you think that they'll I would assume Watson will be active. He was active all year except for the last game because he was sick. That makes me wonder if Kemp is there. Do they think Fortson will be there, or do they take the gamble and just say, hey, we think Tony and Juju are going to be good all game. We got to have some other guys on the defensive side.
Well, that's a function of how confident they are that those guys, the injured guys, can make it through a game. If they feel like, you know what, we're going to give Juju a try, but we're not 100% sure, then yeah, you're going to have to keep an extra guy, and that's probably going to be Marcus Kemp this week. That's what the Chiefs have to weigh. Those are part of all the decisions they have to make, and so I would expect to buy themselves some time. They will promote either Marcus Kemp or Amir Smith-Marset, one of their other practice squad wide receivers, from the practice squad later in the week, and that gives them the option of playing those guys on Sunday when they have to announce who their players are going to be 90 minutes before kickoff. That gives them that option. They can look at these guys on game day and say, okay, they can make it through a game, or we're not sure. We probably, just exactly where they need to go with these decisions.
Do they have a decision on the defensive side because the Eagles love to run the football and how good they are up front? I look at a guy like Brandon Williams. Do they make him active because he is such a run stuffer? Is that really the only question on the defensive side on who's active? Or maybe that's not even a question. Whatever they did against the Bengals, holding them to 20 points, sure seems to work.
Yeah, no, he's been active, and he'll play on Sunday. He'll play in the Super Bowl, no doubt about it. They sort of like what they've seen from Brandon Williams so far. So yeah, the question is whether he's going to play more. The Eagles are one of those teams that they'll run the ball until the opponent stops them. I mean, unlike the Chiefs, for instance, they're not afraid to just keep running the ball. They'll do it all day long if they can. And whereas with the Chiefs, even if they're running the ball well, that's just not Andy Reid's way. He just won't do that. So stopping the run, I feel like, is job one for the Chiefs, and Brandon Williams is definitely a part of that. Yeah.
We're talking with Adam Teicher, covers the Kansas City Chiefs for ESPN, ESPN.com. Follow him on Twitter at Adam Teicher. Okay, well, what's the side of the ball? Is it the Chiefs offense that's the most important? Is the Chiefs defense, Eagles offense, Eagles defense? What do you think has the biggest impact?
Oh, I think it's always where I feel like it is for the Chiefs, and that's with the Chiefs on defense. I feel like the Chiefs are always going to score some points and always going to get some things done that they want to on offense. I still feel that way about this game, even though Mahomes is probably not going to be what he normally is. And understanding that the Eagles can really get after the quarterback. I understand all that. I still think the Chiefs will do enough good things on offense to win the game, but they're going to need some help from their defense. And to my surprise, they got it in the AFC Championship game. I did not expect their defense to get done the things they got done, but they did. And if the Chiefs can do some of those things again this week, I think they have a very good chance of winning this game. And by those things, I'm talking about getting after the quarterback the way they did, pressuring Jalen Hurts like they did Joe Burrow. I'm talking about forcing turnovers. They forced 2 turnovers. Those things were huge in stopping Bengals drives. And so the Chiefs need to take the ball away from the Eagles and get them off the field that way a couple times. And the other thing is getting stops in the red zone. The Bengals got into the red zone 3 times, had to kick field goals twice. Chiefs need to do that kind of thing as well. And if they do all 3 of those things, I think they'll win the game. But I can't predict that from the Chiefs defensively. They're just such a tough team to figure a lot of times from week to week. So we'll see. But I feel like that's the side of the ball that to me is always the mystery and always winds up determining who wins the game.
The Chiefs' run defense has had really good spurts this year, but they've never gone up against a running quarterback since the Bills game against Josh Allen way back, in the first 4 games of the season when they played Buffalo. Do you think that the zone read from the Eagles will be a big factor? That's the thing that worries me the most, is that there's no other games the rest of the way. I feel like they're going to run Jalen Hurts as much as they humanly can, because if it's working, like you said, I agree with you. I think the Eagles will run it and run it and run it. They don't care. And I wonder if the Chiefs more so can slow down the rushing of Jalen Hurts, because they haven't seen that, and they've had some trouble with Lamar Jackson in that type of situation as well.
Yeah, they have. And, they played against running quarterback Russell Wilson a couple times, and he hurt him a time or 2 there. So, they have not been good against running quarterbacks this season, and that has been an issue for them. So, we'll see that's the advantage, of having 2 weeks to plan for this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Steve Spagnuolo will come up with something. Now, whether it'll work or not, I don't know. But, you wonder a little bit that the Chiefs linebackers have a lot of wear and tear on them. And Nick Bolton has played a lot this season, and now you count 2 playoff games. So he's really, they asked a lot of him this season. Is he up to it one more time? And Willie Gay has the shoulder injury, and, how close to 100% is he going to be? That factors into it as well. That, it's hard to see the Chiefs winning this game without big games from those guys.
When it comes to the rushing offense of the Eagles, is that the scary thing? Not AJ Brown, not Devonta Smith, not Dallas Goedert. I mean, they've got a lot of weapons on the offensive side, but does it come down to the rushing attack?
Yeah, that's I think that's a key, but certainly AJ Brown and Smith and Goddard, they'll make their plays, and they'll certainly Eagles will look to get them their plays. So I feel like it's just that's why I say I'm just curious what the Chiefs are going to bring defensively and how much they can accomplish, because this team puts more. It gives you a defense more to worry about than a lot of teams the Chiefs have played, at least recently. And so you wonder a little bit, with all the Eagles have going for them when they have the ball, can the Chiefs account for all this? And I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe they can. Maybe they'll find a way. They surprised me last week. I didn't think they could account for Joe Burrow and all the Bengals had going for them, and they really did a nice job. Maybe they can do that again, but I think this is a different challenge and a bigger challenge.
When it comes to the offense, the last time the Chiefs were in this game, we all convinced ourselves that, hey, Remmers was okay on the right side. Let's move him to the left side and we'll be good. And that pass rush is good, but this Patrick offensive line has done it. We were all wrong. This game, Chiefs offensive line, pretty darn healthy. They're going up against maybe better pass rushers than the Bucs had with what this Eagles defensive front. Do you think this O-line for the Chiefs can hold up against this defensive front for the Eagles?
Yeah, that's another key issue. No doubt about it. And those guys have to play well, meaning the Chiefs' offensive line. It's not all on them. The Chiefs need to have a good protection plan and get help from some of the other guys. But this is why the Chiefs made all those changes on their offensive line after that Super Bowl against the Bucs. This is why they traded a first-round draft choice for Orlando Brown, and they drafted Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, and they signed Joe Thuney. I mean, this is why they did all that stuff, and it has to pay off. Those guys need to play well and take care of business. The thing that scares you about the Eagles, if you're the Chiefs, is they led the league in sacks by a wide margin. I mean, it was a huge gap there. I think 17, 18 sacks over the next team, which was the Chiefs, by the way. And they do it without blitzing. I mean, they something like 75 or 80% of their sacks come with just a four-man rush. So if that's going to be the case, if the Eagles are going to get pressure and sack Mahomes consistently with four guys, it's going to be tough for the Chiefs to win the game. I don't see any way. So that's why I say, that is a key question for this game, is how they handle the pass rushers for Philadelphia.
Alrighty, last two for the road for you. And as always, Adam, we appreciate you coming by. My first question is, if the Chiefs have it 3rd and 1 5 times in this game, how many first downs do they get?
Well, I say none, because they should punt on 3rd and 1 every single time. So, that's a good question. I there's no reason they can't be better at what they at that play. I just can't figure it out. So, whatever their season percentage is, I'll say that's what it'll be. It's not a very good one. We know that, but they should be better, but they're not. So, yeah, that's why maybe the punt thing isn't a bad idea on 3rd and short.
Alrighty, your prediction. I know it's Monday, but what are you feeling here early on in the week?
Well, right now, just all the things we talked about. The Eagles bring so much on both sides of the ball, and it's a lot to ask Chiefs to cover all of this. Can they adequately take care of all of this? They did against the Bengals, and to their credit. But I'm just wondering about against this particular opponent. So I'm going to go with the Eagles in a close but high-scoring game. I'll say 34-30, something like that. I'll take the Eagles to win this one.
Yeah, I think it's a high-scoring game. I really, really do. Plus, a little bonus question. Do you think the Chiefs expected to be here? I know deep down inside, or, they'll say, yeah, we always expect to win. But trading Tyreek Hill, 6 rookies that are playing, do you think that this is almost kind of like they're a year early and they're in the Super Bowl? I don't even know deep down inside if you said that they expected to be here.
No, even privately, when you talk to them after the trade, there was a lot of optimism. They knew some things had to fall into place,
Mm-hmm.
and that was, and the one thing in that regard was all these young guys on defense. They needed, at least by the end of the year, for these guys to be playing competent NFL football, and they got to that. I mean, I think some of these guys are better than competent at this point. So, surprisingly, they were more confident than most people. I had a bunch of people telling me early in the year, "Oh yeah, well the Chiefs must think of this as a rebuilding year." No, they didn't. I mean, this might be what a rebuilding year looks like for the Chiefs, but they didn't consider it to be a traditional rebuilding year where they were going to take a step back. I mean, they kind of looked at some of the moves made by the other teams in the AFC West and kind of were amused by them. Well, good luck in trying to catch us, as opposed to, we're in some trouble this year. No, they didn't think that way. Now, they didn't know how it was going to go, but they felt pretty confident going into this season that, they would challenge for a Super Bowl, and we wouldn't be looking back at the end of it and saying, wow, that was a rebuilding year for the Chiefs.
Adam, thank you so much for the time, and enjoy opening night and the craziness that occurs in the rest of this week.
All right. Good stuff, Jake. We'll talk to you next time.
Adam Teicher, ESPN.com. Follow him on Twitter at Adam Teicher. Does a fantastic job. Great stuff. Got the Eagles in a high scoring. I think a lot of people think it's a high scoring game. I think a lot of people think it's going to be a high scoring game. One, you've got Mahomes, and if it's a healthy Tony and Juju and Watson and Kelsey,
we know they can put up points on the best of them, and Eagles have been cruising offense. I mean, these are statistically the two best offenses in football this year.
Yeah, one well more so than the other.
Yeah.
Like the Chiefs' offense is the best in the NFL,
and there's a big gap.
And it ain't. No, they top two, and they definitely ain't two. Coming up next, the NFL prints money, and we'll tell you why. NFL has officially sold out all of its advertising inventory for Super Bowl 57. Some 30-second commercials during the game sold more than $7 million. Most are $6 million, but some got up to $7 million. You're going to see some other commercials, not just Anheuser-Busch, because they're not the official sponsor now. So you're going to see some other beer commercials. I always laugh at this, that some of these commercials, they spent $7 million for, and they're just awful.
Yeah, that's when you really got to have a little chat with your marketing team. Because I get the idea of why they spend so much on this advertising space, because everyone is watching.
140 million people.
You have so much of a captive audience. You do want to try and get your product out there. But no, I agree. Sometimes what the company then chooses to run, I go, you had this is your one shot, your one opportunity.
Yeah. Most of the time, mom spaghetti ends up.
I'm so happy you roll with me on that.
No crypto commercials this year. There was a bunch of them last year. But sold out. Every single, just an insane amount of money. Coming up, we'll get to more Chiefs and some hoops. On this Super Bowl Monday edition of
Did you forget what day it was for a second?
Mic'd Up. I hope a week from today it is the best Victory Monday ever. Because I think this one, in some ways, would mean more than the first.
Yeah.
Because it validates everything. Just like if you win one Super Bowl, but if you win a second, you are now in rarefied air. Much like golf. You win one major, you've had an unbelievable career. You win a second major.
You're in that rarefied space.
No, you're a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
That's why I wonder. I get why winning the first one.
Yeah.
Winning the first one means you can lose the second one. You can lose the third one because you still
got one.
Got one.
I've always viewed it this way when it comes to championships. Winning one is impressive, but always carries the caveat with it, well, you just got hot once. Anyone can try and get hot once. It's not as simple as that, but they all carry that weight. You know, it's like in the golf analogy specifically, you know, any golfer can get hot for 4 days and win a major and the other field gets damaged.
Well, not any golfer.
And I know, but like I know it's much more nuanced than that, but that is the general idea of it. It's like anyone can kind of ride something for one championship. But when you start getting the multiples of them, it's like, nah, there's no flukiness to winning multiples. You're just that damn good.
Yeah.
And so I'm with you. If they win this one, it is arguably more impressive than the first because they proved they could do it again.
Yeah.
The repeatability is, and also this team probably isn't as good as that one in 2019.
I would say the 2019 team.
I think that team
wins.
overall is better.
I agree with you.
Which makes winning in 22 more impressive.
Although Mahomes is better.
Patrick is better. Patrick is a lot better. I will not disagree on that front. He's better than he was then.
Yeah.
Because Happy's learned how to putt.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Hit us up on our Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429. Outside of Topeka, 785-272-9429. I want to thank Adam Teicher for coming on. We'll get to the Eagles quarterbacks that they have faced. So we're talking who's the best quarterback that the Eagles defense has seen and the best offenses that the Eagles defense has seen. It ain't a good list, folks.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
It ain't a good list.
Not really hard stuff.
We're going to get to that. Everyone loves the list. We are going to go Super Bowl themed all this week. And this week we are going to go with best foods. Foods you have to have if you're having a Super Bowl get together.
Or honestly, if it's just you watching the game by yourself, foods we think you should put just out for yourself to treat yourself.
I think that's a different list though. So we need to iron this out right now.
Okay, for me, it's a similar list. It's like an identical list. I get where you could have it differently. So I would say for larger get-togethers.
Okay, let's do larger.
Because majority of the time, this time of year, this game is for parties.
Yes.
You know, that is a thing around this time is, you know, even non-football fans will do a Super Bowl party.
Unless you're Brendan.
Yeah.
He does.
I don't blame him.
So we'll get to that.
I will
get together.
Yes, get together.
Yeah.
You should cap watching this game with like 3 people.
You're hosting it, or are you going somewhere? Because that's different. Like when I go somewhere, I want, you know, specific things.
Yeah.
Or is that the same? Maybe to
me, it's the same thing.
Okay,
it's just because
Super Bowl get together.
Yeah, because like if I'm putting it on, I'm gonna definitely have my stuff. But if I'm going somewhere, I'm still like, I hope they have the thing that I would put out.
Okay.
So I think it's seamless. But yes,
gotcha.
The idea is, you know, it's a group setting with what we're going for.
Gotcha. It was not a good weekend on the hardwood for the Sunflower State.
No, it wasn't.
Which
it was real bad.
Makes me question this. What is worse? What happened to K-State or what happened to KU? Because KU
that's actually really hard to figure out.
Because KU didn't even show up. Let me rephrase that.
No.
Let me rephrase it. Hold on.
Okay. I'll let you rephrase first before I make my point.
Everybody not named Jalen Wilson.
Yeah, everyone. If you were wearing 10 in blue and in Ames, Iowa, you showed up to the game.
You were really good, actually.
If you did not wear 10 in blue, I hope you had to walk back from Ames and were not allowed back on any transportation.
That seems harsh, but
it maybe will teach them something.
That game was over early. Yeah. I mean, early. McCullough and DeJuan Harris Apparently, if they play on the road against a good team, they don't score. McCullers scored or Harris scored. I don't remember who scored late, but it didn't matter because the game was over. They essentially did not score. Neither one of them scored in the game against Iowa State. You had 2 starters give you a bagel. They were awful. KU didn't show up at all.
Yeah.
Now, they weren't supposed to win that game. Everybody in Ames this year has gotten trucked except for K-State. Otherwise, they have destroyed everybody. I mean, it's impressive what they're doing up there.
Yep.
So that the outcome, not a huge deal. You lost. Everybody loses up there. The way you lost was
painful.
Not good at all.
Pulling teeth.
Not good at all.
I hated every minute of that.
K-State.
Different kind of painful.
K-State should have been up more than 11 at the half, and things were going well, and you're like, hey, and then all of a sudden, Texas's offense started to absolutely click. They take the lead, but K-State battled back, took the lead, and then at the end just, I don't want to say melted down, but the last 2 minutes was all Texas, and last, the 3 by Masood at the end to try to tie it did not go down. See, to me, it's worse to blow an 11-point lead at halftime than just to get ran out the building.
It's one thing to lose a game that you were never in. Like, it sucks. It doesn't feel good, but you're like, man, we should never end this thing. It's another to be playing fantastic ball for 20 minutes. And then just to yak that baby away. Because, man, as I will say this as a man who may have had a financial interest in K-State winning that basketball game, I contemplated taking the money and running at halftime because I had a weird feeling. I will say this. I had a weird feeling at half, like,
Did you cash out?
I did not. I wish I did.
Yep.
I should have listened to the gut. Because I did. I saw it. I would have made like $1.50 less, roughly, because it was a small wager.
Mm-hmm.
Had I cashed out, I wish I did. Because something I was like, up by 11, but that feels weird. That is not personal to you, K-State. That's nothing personal. It happens. That's on me for not listening. But yeah, it's just, I was surprised with how big the lead was, so it getting close didn't surprise me. K-State's kind of final 2 to 3 possessions surprised me in a little bit of their futility. Marquise Noel, uncharacteristically, kind of fumbling a ball as he goes up. Like, I know Marquise, especially recently, has kind of had some turnover problems. But normally, if he's going up or trying to go through contact, he doesn't normally just hit a guy's body. And then that final play they drew for Ish Masood, that wasn't it, man. And it happens. Like, teams have these games. Like, this just happens. But neither game was great. K-State finally loses at home at Bramlage. If there's anything interesting to come out of for K-State, I don't think I've ever seen Jerome Tang that mad.
Yeah, he was heated with his team.
He was mad that they lost that game.
Yeah. Because that was the game that K-State, that's one where you steal a game. And when I say steal a game, you won in Austin.
Yeah.
Now, if you beat Texas at home and you're up 11, you're 20 minutes away. And I don't think he didn't like the fight. I think he thought that they got passive, but you beat Texas. That you sweep Texas. That you steal a game. The whole hope is to split home and away with these. And then when you win one of them, then can you steal it on the other side? Like, this was a game that they had a chance to steal. Same thing for Baylor. They already beat Baylor on the road. Can you beat Baylor at home? And then now you got to beat TCU at home because you lost to TCU on the road.
You got to hold home serve against that team.
You had you could have stolen one in Allen Fieldhouse. That is what you are trying to do in the Big 12 at this point in time. That one could have been a big one if you were K-State and you were Texas, because you would have been tied with Texas atop the league if you won that game. And that's why it was tough. And, neither team played really well. The difference is for K-State to score in the 80s, they got to have their two studs go off. And Marquise Noel didn't. Keontae Johnson had 16. Then nobody else really helped out. And you're not going to get a ton from Carter, Gisan, and Tomlin, and that type of thing. That was kind of a bummer. And they let that one slip away. That was frustrating for Kansas State. That's the type of game at home that you hope it doesn't linger. You really, really don't. You hope that one you can flush it real quick because it's a quick turnaround. Because you take on TCU tomorrow. That's a big one. That'll be 3 potential losses in a row. You win this game, you're back on track. Things are going well. You're sitting there at 7-4 in the conference. No big deal. Got 7 games left. Still have a couple games that you feel like they are winnable with Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, West Virginia. They only got technically 2 of the better teams after TCU the rest of the way, and they're both at home. Like that is a good schedule.
That's K-State's big advantage right now is their toughest opponents all have to come to Manhattan. So like that's your advantage. You have to hold it. And yeah, for K-State, if you lose to TCU tomorrow, that's 4 straight conference losses. You can't have that with what you're trying to do. They have a win in this stretch. It was against Florida.
Oh yeah.
They've lost 3 straight conference games.
Correct. Yeah.
Now they would lose 3 straight overall as TCU, yada yada yada. But
yeah.
And the thing is, you can beat TCU. I think they really can. The health of TCU is also where some things get dependent. But I think that game down in Fort Worth was such an aberration. I don't know if I think it's gonna be such a different battle coming up. But both KU and K-State need to win their next matchups at home.
Well, and tonight, I will say this: if KU doesn't win tonight, they will not win the Big 12. They will not win the Big 12. And the reason I say that is after tonight, if they let's say they lose, okay?
Now let's say Texas wins.
Let's say Texas wins. Texas will be 3 games up on KU with 7 games to go. Here's who KU still has to play. You ready? At OU, at OSU, home against Baylor, at TCU, at Texas, home against West Virginia, home against Texas Tech. There's another loss in there.
Oh, yeah.
Guaranteed. They are not going to finish 7-0. So if you
ain't right on the rack against that.
You let's say you lose, you're going to be 6-5, which means you're going to end up with, at best, for me, 6 losses. So you're going to end up going 12-6. I don't see Texas, if they win today, losing 4 of their next 7. I just don't see it. So if you want to win the Big 12 or share the Big 12, just claim the title, you have to win today. You have got to win. And if they do, they'll be 7-4. Texas will be 8-3. You're a game back. 1 game back, not a big deal. 3 games back, really big deal. And because if you're just 1 game back, you play Texas last game of the year. That's where you can kind of control your own destiny there. But if you lose this thing, you're 3 games back with 7 to go, and you still have to play 3 ranked opponents. And KU has not played well at Oklahoma State. No, in the history,
never have played well inside that building.
Still going to Oklahoma and still going to TCU.
Yeah, I
can say this: they will not win the Big 12 if they don't win tonight. Now, Brendan peeked his head in here just a little bit ago, and I knew KU was good at home on Big Monday.
As I say, let's bring up the Big Monday streak.
KU on Big Monday, which it is tonight, 8:00.
Yep.
At home.
Yes.
Under Bill Self.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're like, okay, Jake, that's kind of like one of those, baseball stats where it's like, oh, well, Nicky Lopez hits 700 at home when he hits in the 7th spot when the temperature's under 50 and it's a 1:00 afternoon start time. Not quite that. Let me just say this. They are undefeated, never lost when KU plays Big Monday at home under Bill Self. They play a lot of games at home.
It's what, 38-0?
I think 35-0.
Maybe 35. It's the mid to upper 30s. Yeah, no.
Yeah, and 0.
KU
and
doesn't
never lost.
KU does not lose home Big Monday games under Bill Self, which that streak's on the line tonight. Which, listen, I say this and I admit it and will always be clear to it. There's a little bit of the KU bias here. I can't pull it all away. When streaks are on the line, KU comes to play ball. At times they fail, and at times those streaks get broken. But when they got big stuff on the line, Bill Self gets those boys ready.
I got Texas winning.
I got KU winning because I can't say the words Texas beats KU, but if I come on the show tomorrow and KU's lost, I will not be stunned.
I think Texas wins. I think Texas is playing outstanding. They are deep.
They're playing great.
And they got a bench, and they can score.
It comes down to just DeJuan Harris and Kevin McCullough show up to the building. Yeah. If they show up to the building, KU can win this game. They don't show up, nope.
Friendly confines helps.
The friendly confines, that building makes every team play stupid. They finds a way.
I think it actually is the other way around right now. I think McCullough and DeJuan Harris are like, oh, I know this place. Okay, I feel comfortable.
And the other thing, too, is, KU players, they get up to play in this building.
Coming up next, everyone loves the list, food edition for the Super Bowl. Loves the list. Food at your Super Bowl party. What do you got?
Number 4 for me, you need at least one dessert sweet item on the spread. So it was some good old-fashioned cookies, preferably chocolate chip, but I can go around the rounds to some different levels here, but you need at least one sweet thing. Cookies are a simple fan favorite. No one will ever complain.
I have a dessert, but it's number 3.
That's fair.
I have a dessert, but
That's
it's
fair.
number 3. Number 4 for me. I love Little Smokies at a Super Bowl party.
Yes, they're very good.
I love Little Smokies, so I went with Little Smokies.
That's fair. No, Little Smokies delicious. Number 3 for me. Just give me some barbecue meatballs. Just give me a little meatballs, a little barbecue sauce on that. Heat it up a little bit. Delicious.
Okay. Number 3 for me. It is a cupcake.
Cupcakes are a good pick. That's a very good pick.
I need a cupcake.
That's a good call.
You got to have some type of
You
dessert.
need some type of sweet. You
Yeah,
really do
you
to
do.
combat all
Yeah.
the savory that's
Yeah.
probably on the table there.
Correct. Yeah,
You need
I'm with
something
that.
there. Number 2 for me, a classic. You got to have cheese dip. If you're going to go for a dip, I say cheese dip above, some of the others. I won't complain if it's others you remove, but I think the cheese dip is the de facto champion when you just need to put a dip out for the spread.
You have to have some type of main course if you're going to have a party. It can't just be all, veggie trays and dips and all that. And so I go with what everyone, you got to have wings.
Yes.
You have
100%.
you have to have wings. Wings is number 2 for me.
Number 1 for me is wings. You must have wings. It must be your main centerpiece. Get a big old tray of them, and they should be polished off by the end of the night.
It can be boneless or bone-in. I don't care. Number 1 for me, we had it switched. I need chips and queso. I got to have some type of chip and queso dip. That's what you need.
That's fair.
No arguments. Coming up next, have the Eagles played anybody? We'll get to that next. Big O Tires text line. If you watched the Pro Bowl, let me know what you thought.
It was a fun time.
785-272-9429.
Next year, they need to work on the skills challenges. Those were very underwhelming. Like that portion of the event, very underwhelming.
Did they have longest throw?
They did not.
Lame.
For the quarterback precision challenge, after they did their round with the targets, everyone got one shot at a 60-yard target downfield. No one hit it. That was very entertaining to see because some of them got really close. And I can't remember which quarterback it was at the side of the barrel. It was great. They had a longest drive, which was much more entertaining than I thought it was going to be. It was pre-recorded, so they done it much earlier in the day. That was entertaining because all the guys doing it seemed to really like it. They had some weird multi-event lightning round thing that just sucked. That included a water balloon toss. Scrap that one for forever. That was horrible.
It's not hard. Who can throw the football the farthest?
Yes.
It's not difficult. Who is the fastest? It is not difficult.
Yeah.
It is not difficult.
I did miss kick-tack-toe where the kickers play tic-tac-toe, so I can't confirm or deny how great that was. That sounds beautiful in attempts. As a fan of kickers, that sounds fun to me to watch them get to do. I like things to where testing the accuracy of doing a difficult thing.
Yeah.
Like precision passing, I do enjoy because it's it is not easy to hit these targets. But if quarterbacks also, I just want to see those boys just nuke something down the field.
Yeah. I want to see how far you can throw it. Come on.
So,
not
but
that difficult.
the best part of the weekend, I think the flag football nature of the event to end it was a success, in my opinion. I enjoyed it. I watched a good chunk of it, and I enjoyed every minute. I got to hear the players chatting. They seemed to have fun. Peyton and Eli being the coaches also made it better because those two are just entertaining. Watching Peyton Manning chew out a flag football official was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Like, that event ended with Peyton Manning hot at an official during flag football. And that's, like, it's cultivating the competitive nature of these guys because they all have a very, like, Kirk Cousins was animated during flag football and was hyped when he was throwing well. Like, these guys are all competitive. So they're all going to want to win things. You just got to balance that with what they're willing to do. They were never going to hit as hard as they can anymore in the Pro Bowl because no one wants to risk injury for nothing. But you put some money on the line, say, hey, just go be skillful and just play flag football. And it's just, here's some money on the line. If you win, you get a lot of money. It stokes it.
Hit us up on the Big O Tires text line. Let me know if you thought the Pro Bowl, the flag football portion of it was fun. Let me know.
Pro Bowl games.
Let me know. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to take on the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Here are the quarterbacks that the Eagles' vaunted defense has gone up against. Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz, Jacob Lawrence, Kyler Murray, Cooper Rush, Kenny Pickett, the Mills Mafia, Taylor Heineke, some guy named Ryan. That's Matt Ryan. Aaron Rodgers, Ryan Tannehill, Dan Jones, Justin Fields, Dak Prescott, Andy Dalton, some guy named
Davis Webb,
some guy named
Davis Webb,
and Brock Purdy. Now, of those, let's make some notes here. They did not face Brock Purdy. They faced Brock Purdy for 6 plays, and then Brock Purdy got hurt.
Then you faced Josh Johnson, the ultimate journeyman.
Yeah. You played Trevor Lawrence in a monsoon. I remember that game because I go, wow, that looks awful. Those are the quarterbacks that they have faced. Who's the best quarterback? Rodgers this year sucked, and the Packers offense was not good.
No, it was poo.
Okay, Purdy played 6 plays.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, so
then he didn't have an elbow.
Who are you going with? Who is the best quarterback that they faced? Is it Jared Goff? Is it Trevor Lawrence in a monsoon in week 4? Is it Dak Prescott? Who's the best quarterback?
I think it's got to be Dak. Because that week 1 Jared Goff was not end of year Jared Goff. He had not found the stride he hit late. Kirk Cousins never counts in primetime because he's a pumpkin.
Yeah, I'm not even including Kirk Cousins.
Weather messed with Trevor Lawrence's game, so that changes things. Yep. And Brock Purdy lost his elbow after 6 plays. Like, and the rest of them are just objectively not good. Like, and like I said, Aaron Rodgers, you think by name it should be, but they were not good this year. That offense was bad.
Real bad.
I think it has to be Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott.
Which is saying something.
Dak Prescott is the best quarterback that they have faced this year. Turn over Dak Prescott. This is the part of the Eagles defense that I am very... Let me rephrase this. Just looking at the numbers, you go, damn, that's a really good defense. Wow, incredible sack numbers. Are you surprised that Webb, Dalton, Prescott, Fields, Tannehill, Matt Ryan, Heineke, Mills, Pickett, Cooper Rush, Carson Wentz, Kirk Cousins all got sacked a bunch? I'm not surprised at all because they're all not good quarterbacks. That's where I have a hard time with this game. That is where I have a very hard time with this game. Because I don't know how good this Eagles defense really is, because they had to beat Davis Webb at the end of the year going to earn home field advantage. They won their last game of the regular season 22-16. And if they don't win that game, they're not the 1 seed. The 49ers are. Dak Prescott turns it over like crazy. Has an iffy offensive line. Trevor Lawrence in week 4 was not the Trevor Lawrence at the end of the year that the Chiefs faced, and that Jaguars offense is not the same. And I bring up this. Here are the top 10 passing offenses this year. You ready? Top 10 passing offenses. Number 1 are the Chiefs. Number 2 are the Bills. Number 3 is San Francisco. Number 4 is Miami. Number 5 is Detroit. Number 6 is Jacksonville. Number 7 is Cincinnati. Number 8 is Seattle. Number 9 is Philly. And number 10, the Giants. That's according to the advanced numbers. The Eagles have faced the number 3 ranked passing offense in San Francisco, but they faced them for 6 plays. Fun fact, Brock Purdy led them to midfield on their very first possession and then got hurt. So they did not face the number 3 ranked pass offense. If they did, well, he moved it all the way to midfield in 6 plays. They didn't face Miami. They faced Detroit week 1. And the Eagles won 38-35. So they gave up 35 points in week 1 to the Lions. Now, we know week 1 is a unique spot, because you don't know what the other team is going to do. Exactly. But they gave up 35 points. Then against Jacksonville in week 5, they won 29-21 in a monsoon. Then have not faced Cincinnati, Seattle, and Philly, and they faced the Giants twice. The Giants have Daniel Jones, and I hope the Giants pay Daniel Jones. You know what? Give him the bag. Go give him all the money and watch your franchise. Daniel Jones is poor man's Alex Smith. The Giants will never get to a title game with Daniel Jones at quarterback. You ain't winning a World Series. You're not. You're not winning a title. You're not with Daniel Jones. We just said, who's the best quarterback that we thought of, considering time and where you played him and everything? We said Dak, right?
Yeah.
The Cowboys didn't even have a top 10 passing offense, according to the advanced numbers. But the Cowboys, last time that they played them, now I understand who was at quarterback for the other team. I get that. I get that it was not Jalen Hurts. And this Eagles team right now is the sum of the parts. Okay? If Jalen Hurts is at quarterback, maybe things are different. Now, I will say this. The Eagles led that game 10-0. They did. They got the pick 6 because Dak turns the ball over like crazy. So they're up 10-0. And they lost the game 40-34. And the Cowboys don't have a top 10 passing attack. Now, maybe it was because Jalen Hurts didn't play in that game. But I will say this, Gardner Minshew did throw for 2 touchdowns. Now he threw for 2 interceptions, threw for 355 yards. I don't know if this Eagles defense is just that good, or they have been very fortunate, because in the NFC, if you told me, give me the top 5 quarterbacks right now in the NFL, 1 through 3, and it's not even close, go Mahomes, Burrow, Allen. And then who's number 4? Tell me who number 4 is. Is it Hurts? Is it Hurts? I don't know. But the Chiefs have faced Burrow twice. They faced Allen. They faced Herbert twice. They've faced much better quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I don't think this Eagle defense, and they haven't. They have not faced an offense like this because they have not faced Buffalo. They did not face San Francisco with Purdy. They did not face Miami. The best offenses you faced, they gave up 35 points, and then when they faced the Cowboys, they gave up 40. Now they played the Cowboys twice, and the Cowboys earlier this year, because I want to give both sides of the coin, the Cowboys scored 17 on them. And they gave up 32 to the Commanders. That's where I wonder if this team, this defense, really has benefited with they haven't played a ton of guys. And in the game against the Commanders, Heineke was pretty methodical, to be honest with you. And if your opposing team has a decent defense, the Commanders have a decent defense. It's not great, but they were able to shut down the run, and then Hurts completed 17 passes for 170 yards. That is 10 yards a pass, folks. That shows you that, to me, if your defense slows them down, that is how the Eagles win. The Eagles win games this year very, very similar to what the Ravens did when Lamar won the MVP. The Ravens got out early and led, and then they just ran it down your throat. And then when you brought people in the box, they could play action and throw it to some good wide receivers. If the Chiefs get up early, now, the Eagles, do they stick with the run? Are you going to have to throw it? But when you're down, then, well, it looks like we're going to have to throw the football. Okay. Chiefs are down. We'll gladly throw the football because we're not Jared Goff. We're not, Webb, Dalton, Ryan, Heineke, Mills, Pickett, Rush, Murray, Wentz, Cousins. Like, yeah, you might be leading you might have been leading, early on Trevor Lawrence. That's a different beast when you're going up against the Chiefs. And I think Brandon Ayuk is a little bit salty, understandably, because Brandon Ayuk, who is the wide receiver for the 49ers, went on a 49er podcast and said, I will bet my entire life savings if I could bet. Remember, don't go Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, Brandon, make sure to say you can't and that you aren't.
He goes, the Chiefs are going to expose the Eagles defense for who they are. I think the 49ers felt very good going into that game. Got it to midfield, played. Like, people forget, it wasn't, middle of the second quarter. It wasn't, right after halftime. It was play number 6. The game ended after Brock Purdy got hurt. When Purdy went out and they brought in Josh Johnson, I said, well, game's over. You are not beating the Eagles with Josh Johnson. And yet, it was a close game at halftime. Well, let me say, it was a close game.
Till about 3 minutes before half, and then the Niners decided to hand the Eagles the ball twice.
Exactly.
Which at that point, you're screwed. No.
So that's why I look at what Brandon Ayuk, you can't say that because to me, it just looks like
it's sour grapes.
It's sour grapes. You're salty. But some of the stuff that he says, that the Chiefs offense is different. The Chiefs have Mahomes. Yeah. We felt like we could get after them a little bit if, and this goes back to what we talked about with Adam Teicher. Andrew Wiley's going to have to block Hassan Reddick.
Good luck, buddy.
And it's not just going to be Andrew Wiley. It's going to be Andrew Wiley and Isaiah Pacheco, Andrew Wiley and Jerick McKinnon, Andrew Wiley and, maybe a tight end chip. I think that's what they'll do. I think they're going to say Orlando Brown, stop, Brandon Graham. Orlando Brown, stop Hargrave, if you will. But the Reddick versus Wiley and how they game plan that's where Ayuk, and this is where I think if Brandon Ayuk played for the Jets, or if Brandon Ayuk played for the Panthers, I think people would actually be, okay, that's an NFL guy thinking that the Eagles defense is not ready for what they're going to see from the Chiefs, because statistically they have not. No, they have not. They have not faced a top 5 offense this year with all parts humming at the end of the year.
This is hands down the best offense Philadelphia is going to see this year, and the gap is not particularly close. I'm interested by 2 things in this game. One, I think the Chiefs can put up points and yards on this team, partly because I think the Eagles defense hasn't been tested, and so just maybe there's some of that. Other part is I've watched the Chiefs play the arguable best defense in the NFL. Like, the Chiefs put up 40 points on the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
And the Niners were pretty healthy during that game. They had Nick Bosa, and the Chiefs put up 40 in that game. And they spotted the Niners 10 points. Like, that's why I'm not worried there. And I am very intrigued by, can the Chiefs put scoreboard pressure on the Eagles? Because Jalen Hurts, statistically in his career, we'll get into this, is not good when trailing. When that game script goes negative, Hurts is not good. Eagles have been playing from a position of power all year. That's how they play games. They get leads and set on them. I don't know if they'll be able to do that against Kansas City. And I think the Chiefs' biggest thing, besides just generally stopping the run in this game, is you need to get up. Get up and hold a lead, and then force the Eagles to throw, because they are not built for it.
Coming up, we will get to a little overreaction, proper reaction. We'll talk opening night. We'll get to all that coming up here on Mic'd Up. Of Mic'd Up on this Monday edition. Jake LeBon, Fulton Caster with you. Thank you so much for stopping by. We got a lot to get to coming up tomorrow. The Kansas City Chiefs will meet with the media during our show from 12 to 1 is when the Chiefs will be meeting with the media coming up tomorrow. We'll talk with Matt Derrick, a little crosstalk. We'll have lots to discuss on this Tuesday edition of Mic'd Up. Want to thank Adam Teicher. If you missed Adam Teicher from ESPN.com, you can head to our website, 580wibw.com. Check out the podcast page. You can, of course, watch us on YouTube. Very simple, very easy. Go to youtube.com, subscribe, Sports on 580. Also, you can watch us on our website, 580wibw.com. Very simple, very easy. Hit us up on the Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429. We will get to overreaction, proper reaction coming up here in just a little bit. But tonight, it's the first true opening night since the Chiefs really won the Super Bowl. It really wasn't true opening night last year even. But the Super Bowl opening night presented by Fast Twitch Kicks, or Fast Twitch. What's Fast Twitch?
I don't know.
Presented by Fast Twitch kicks off. That was like Fast Twitch Kicks, but this just kicks off. Terrible wording there by that's terrible. I don't even know what Fast Twitch is. Google that. What is Fast Twitch? So you got 10 players, 10 coaches from the Chiefs and the Eagles. It's the only live event open to the public. As Adam Teicher said, this is where the fun and the wild ends up happening. But this is the first time since Miami that they've done this. It goes from 8 until 10 o'clock Central Time. So it's in the evening. The Eagles will have Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Jordan Alada, Hassan Reddick, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Darius Slay, and Miles Sanders. Chiefs will have Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey, Chris Jones, Frank Clark, Orlando Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Isaiah Pacheco, Nick Bolton, L'Jarius Sneed, and Jerick McKinnon. Here's what's interesting about this is you've got Juju and Sneed speaking, and they were on the injury report. You can watch it on ESPN2, NFL Network, or FS1. What will draw better? Super Bowl opening night or KU Texas on the basketball court?
I would like to believe an actual sporting event will draw more, but the Super Bowl seems to always bring stuff to it. Also, it took a lot of Googling to get here to properly fact check. I believe the fast twitch they are referencing as the sponsorship is a new thing Gatorade's doing. It's a new Gatorade product that is called fast twitch. I think there's also like performance recovery places that are called fast twitch, but that didn't feel right when I Googled it and combined it with like opening night sponsor fast twitch. It appears, yes, Gatorade, it's the rollout of their new energy drink fast twitch, and they're celebrating that rollout with a bunch of Super Bowl connected stuff. So I believe that's what it is. There is no guarantee to this because nothing is saying this for sure. But if I had to put my money on something, it's this Gatorade connected fast twitch thing.
All right.
So it's Gatorade's new product. Now, I think KU Texas might outdraw it. But I mean, also looks like this is just hear players speak versus an actual sporting event. But I don't know.
I'm surprised this is not on ABC.
It feels like the proper thing to put on there.
Or, Fox gets this. I'm surprised they don't put this on prime time. I really, really am.
We talk about all the time about how the NFL, one of their greatest assets is they make their most mundane things into spectacles.
Yeah.
We talk about that with the NFL draft. It's just a conference. It's basically, a conference call is all it is. But they make it into the greatest spectacle on the planet. All this is 20 guys doing media. Like, and the thing is, like, this isn't even like, we talked about it, Adam. This isn't like media that is going to gain you any knowledge.
No.
This is based on just 2 hours of PR. A thing that, in most circumstances, no one cares. But because it is the NFL, because they are great at making the mundane feel spectacular, there are people that are going to sit in front of their TVs for 2 hours and learn what favorite potato chip Patrick Mahomes likes.
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of want to know that answer now.
Like, someone's going to learn how much rugby Jordan Mailata's played. And want to know the difference between rugby and football or something random. Someone is going to ask Jason and Travis numerous times stuff about them growing up.
See, I'm all for that.
Which I'll say, that part is fun. That part about Jason and Travis, that's genuinely entertaining, But, like, someone's going to ask Orlando Brown why is this nickname at Oklahoma was occasionally Zeus. There's some random thing there. I've never paid attention to it. Someone's going to ask Nick Bolton something stupid.
If your team is not in it, then that's the stuff I want to know.
Even my team's in it. It's like, I was this too. I don't mean to disparage those kinds of questions. I think we get a little obsessive over every single interview question and every single response must be this treasure trove of info. I think it is fun to give these players a little bit of a moment of just like, no, just we're going to ask you some silly stuff and just have fun.
What do you suppose his favorite chip is?
Pat?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he's a Ruffles guy.
Man, old school Ruffles are so good.
They are. They're very delicious.
They're so good.
Maybe Pat's a Fritos guy. Maybe he doesn't like potato chips. Maybe he just doesn't eat potato chips.
Who doesn't eat potato chips?
Alex Gordon when he was playing.
Yeah, but he's a weirdo.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I think that's like the guys that don't are those hyper fit dudes during athlete season.
No, because Patrick Mahomes drinks way too many Coors Light.
And that's why I think Patrick Mahomes does have a fair potato chip.
Yeah,
I said it more of maybe he doesn't, just like that would be really weird. Because like the only people that don't eat potato chips are those like hyper athletes. Pat enjoys too many beers to be a guy who wouldn't eat potato chips. But maybe he just doesn't like them. Maybe he's just another snack. Maybe he's more of a crackers guy. It's like a Cheez-Its guy. That's not a potato chip, but it's a snack.
It's not a potato chip, but they're the same thing.
It's not a potato chip.
No, I know that, but they all fall
the concept. Yes, no, they're similar. They're similar category.
The same aspect.
Yeah. But like,
it's not a cracker. Well, that's completely different.
Yes, no. I will say, I do think it's nice to give these guys this kind of especially to start the week. It's nice to give them the start of a week.
I like this. I think this is exciting. This is going on the main TV for me. KU in Texas, you were on the side screen.
Yeah, not for me.
KU Texas, no, I don't get to see. I've only seen opening night one time for my team because the other time it was COVID and didn't exist.
Yeah.
So no, I get to see KU play basketball on Big Monday all the time. Side screen. I need to pay attention to, Harris and McCullough throwing up bricks. I don't need to see that on a big screen. It's on my side screen. Main screen.
Will you be watching the Eagles portion of the event from 8 to 9?
Heck yeah, it starts at 8 o'clock. My kids go to bed at 8. I'm excited. Give me anything that starts at 8 or later, like 8 to 10. This is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. Basketball game to get done at 10. Opening night gets done at 10. And I'm in bed at 10:01.
I'll probably try to find a window to put some of these things on while I do some other stuff.
What other stuff you got going on?
It's Monday. It's my Dungeons and Dragons night. And please let the jokes roll in, everyone. I say these words and I say these things because I'm all about letting you guys know who and type of person I am, and I open myself up to comments.
Well,
every Monday night for the past Mondays, it's been for 3 years. 2 years. Mondays might have been a 2-year thing. Used to be Thursdays. Started on Thursdays. But once a week for 5 years. So no, that will be dominating my attention, but the sports will be on the secondary screens. Keep a tab on them.
I can't even
sporting events on Monday do kind of wreck my schedule a little bit.
I can't even make a joke about it because I don't even know any I hope you roll an 8.
I hope I don't. That's a really bad roll.
Yeah, roll an 8. I don't even know.
Bad roll.
I have no. I know a little bit of most everything nerdy. Like Pokemon and all that kind of stuff.
No, you're not gonna say you know anything about Pokemon with how much you give Brendan and I flack for that.
No, I know about it because I know you try to catch them all, and I know there's a Charmander and all this kind of stuff, and I know the whole point of it, and you got all that. I know nothing about and I mean this respectfully. I am not hating on you. You do you.
There's a little bit of hate in here. It's okay, though.
No, there's no hate here. There's none. There's none. I know nothing about Dungeons and Dragons.
You should
absolutely no.
You should look up the piece ESPN did on Johnny Stanton and the D&D group he started for the Browns. Great thing. Shout out my guy Johnny Stanton.
Is it do you have is it a board games like Risk?
No, it's a tabletop RPG. TTRPG is the acronym.
See, I got nothing. You just spoke Russian to me.
If we're fighting something, because a bunch of my friends are in Wichita, but I'm up here. We've moved to fully virtual, so we're all virtual as we do this. We have virtual tabletop software to build maps on and have a visual component.
Do you take down castles? Do you like fight castles?
You can.
Like,
We aren't.
I got nothing, man.
The
I can't even make fun of you because I know nothing about it.
The beauty of the game is that it's whatever you want it to be.
You should.
It's the beauty of it.
You should play football tonight then. At Dungeons and Dragons.
That is the thing you could do in the game and make it happen. That is not fit within the confines of the way we are playing ours. Because again, we're 5 years deep, a little late to be changing some things.
Why not?
Football doesn't exist in the world we're playing in.
Oh, well, make it. Instead of throwing a football, throw a robot. I don't see.
Robots all well.
I don't even
there are
know.
constructs in what we play in.
I don't even know.
But, I will always say this. Everyone should try it. Its flexibility makes it very fun. You can make it as jockey as you'd want. Yeah. You could use that to just play a full. You could just be like, no, we're all professional athletes and all playing sports.
Right now,
I can be all sport related.
I don't. I play matching games. That's what I play. Oh, look, it's a frog. Find the other frog.
Well, yeah, that's different because you have a 2-year-old.
He'll be 3 in May.
Well, he's still 2. Is it May yet? No, he's 2.
He's still 2. Let's get to our prop bet of the day. We are going to give our own prop bet that we like, and then also someone from the expert side of things. Here is CBS Sports, their Monday prop bet of the day.
I'm looking to target Devonta Smith under receiving yards, under 62.5. He's a big play wide receiver, and a lot of his plays are downfield. Kansas City knows that. They're going to try to take that away. It's the Super Bowl. And Jalen Hurts, I'm not sure how that shoulder is. He overthrew a lot of passes in that last game against San Francisco. Didn't look like the guy we saw all season long. I don't think he looked like that guy against the Giants either, and most people thought the same thing. 61 receiving yards against the Giants' weak pass defense, 36 against San Francisco's stronger pass defense. So I think Smith's going under, but again, I'm going to wait and hope to get maybe 66, 67 in that range to go under on Super Bowl Sunday.
Back for Kansas City to get over 21.5 rushing yards. It's a very low number. That's Jerick McKinnon. He's likely to get one sprint draw and just burst past that second level of the Eagles defense. So for me, it's a low enough number that I feel for sure he's going to go over. That's my top prop overall.
So there you go. Devonta Smith under 63 yards. Devonta Smith has gone under 63 yards 8 times this year, including the last 2, and including 67 in the first game against the Giants. And the other one was Jerick McKinnon. Longest run. Thinks he's going to pop one. All righty. Fulton.
Yes.
What do you got for your Monday prop bet of the day?
For me, to kick us off on our prop bets of the day for the Super Bowl, I'm going over on Isaiah Pacheco rushing yards, currently sitting at 49.5. The Eagles are 21st against the run in DVOA. The Chiefs have been running the football decently well as of late, and I think they're going to still look to establish the run a little bit as Mahomes' ankle is going to be better, but probably still not 100%. I think Pacheco's going to rip off a couple of big ones as it goes as well. Plus, depending on the game script, and if you think the Chiefs are going to win this game and have a lead they're trying to salt away late, gets a lot more rushing attempts, kind of builds it in there more, a little bit easier to get to it. So I would go Isaiah Pacheco over 49.5 rushing yards. I think that'll be a good one for this game.
You think they're going Pacheco and not McKinnon?
Yeah. Isaiah Pacheco is the lead running back.
Okay. My prop bet for Monday. I agree with Adam Teicher. We had him on early. He said if the Eagles have success running it, they will continue to run the football. I am going to go with over 4.5 rushing attempts for Kenneth Gainwell.
Okay.
Kenneth Gainwell is the backup running back. All right. I think he's going to get some carries because it's a long game. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. So I think there's going to be a lot of possessions. Here's Kenneth Gainwell in their last couple of games. 14 carries, 12 carries, 5 carries. I think they're going to give Gainwell a few carries. I think he'll get to 5 carries in this one. So I like Kenneth Gainwell over 5.5 yards.
I think that's a good one.
Or not yards, 5.5 attempts.
Yeah, attempts.
5.5 attempts. Yeah. Just attempts. Pretty simple, pretty easy.
Just hand him the football.
Just hand him the football. Sometimes attempts can be, simple. No, doesn't matter about the end result. Does he hand the ball off?
Give me 6 attempts for 6 yards and you're fine.
Yeah. Could be 5 attempts for 5 yards. 5 attempts for 1 yard. 5 attempts for -8 yards. Hopefully that's the case.
That'd be nice.
So that's the one that I'm going with. I kind of agree with Devonta Smith. I think this is an A.J. Brown game.
Yeah.
I think it's an A.J. Brown game. So that's Monday's prop bet. I've already got a few of them already.
I will say this.
In the hopper.
I think by the end of the week, we need to take with these ones and see at least as many as we can, because I know this gets a little wonky at times. What would a parlay if we put all of the stuff of this together as much as we could at the end of the week for each of us? What would those odds be?
Well, we'll do it. I'll do it. I'll just put $1 on it. It might be pretty high.
It might be like we're gonna start.
It'd be a 10-leg parlay.
Well, see, I was thinking of like what my 5 would be and what your 5 would be, but we could also do a tenner.
We're gonna do both of them.
I'm down for it. I would be down to just we need to make a tenner out of the two of us combined. Each put $1 on it, because if it hits, we're all to be both very happy men, and if it doesn't, it's $1.
Yeah. So
prop bet makes the Super Bowl fun.
We'll each put $1 down on all of our. You got to be football based and then fun based.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm excited for when we get more finalized lines on the Gatorade color near the end of the week.
I'm going with Team Red for the Chiefs. I'm going.
See, I'm feeling orange. Early on, I'm feeling orange.
Going red for both.
It's been blue the last 2 Super Bowls. I don't think we're going to get blue again.
I think a great parlay is heads or tails,
and
then who wins the toss.
That's a fun one. That is a fun one.
Because the Chiefs will call it.
Yeah, they will.
So if you think the Chiefs are going to call tails, and you believe in tails because it never fails.
Tails never fails.
Then bet the Chiefs and tails because the Chiefs are going to call it.
Yes, they are. I'm sad they're not going the all whites. I'm disappointed.
I know. I am too.
I'm disappointed.
Get me started on that. We will get a official prop bet with Carl Cheffers on how many flags he's going to throw. We will find out over, under, how many penalties.
If we can't find a book that has it, we're making it ourselves.
Yep, we will. Yep.
We will have that by the end of the week. We're going to figure this out.
Yep, that'll happen. No, there has to be because Cheffers led the league in penalties thrown.
Yeah.
It has to be. They can't, they have to have one of those. Coming up next, we're going to have a little overreaction, proper reaction here on Mic'd Up. I hope that I'm never this fanhood for a team outside of my alma mater. So Sean Payton, with his Super Bowl pick, he was formally introduced as the Denver Broncos head coach. He says this: I'm picking the Eagles. We never want anyone in our division to win anything. To what a mass of people on Twitter who cover the Broncos are just enthralled with that statement. I'm picking the Eagles. We never want anyone in our division to win anything. To which Andrew Mason, who covers the Denver Broncos for Denver Sportscom, said, wow, this guy gets it. There's going to be no tiptoeing and offering platitudes to division rivals anymore from the Broncos coach. You think that's like a, oh my goodness, that's a wow statement? That's a wow statement.
Of course.
In your mind, that's a wow statement.
Aren't you wowed by it? Aren't you just enthralled by that?
Fulton, water is wet.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to sleep in a bed tonight.
Huh? Good for you.
My son is going to drink milk at dinner.
Yeah, that's not a big surprise.
Those are those are wow statements, because that's what that is.
Yeah.
Like that's what they are. The Broncos just in general, just when Russell Wilson signed it with him, oh my gosh, he's the greatest thing ever. Oh wow. Oh, look at him. He's practicing his high fives. That's what we like to call a routine. Sean Payton doesn't want the Chiefs to win. There's not going to be any tiptoeing, no platitudes anymore. They're here to win. Are you serious with that? Of course I never want the Broncos, the Raiders, or the Chargers to win anything. Ever. Like, I think in football, I don't want any team to win it at all. That's why last year's Super Bowl sucked. I didn't want the Bengals to win. I didn't want the Rams to win. Like, whereas baseball, it's different. Like, when the Braves won, I was like, yeah, go Braves. Sweet.
That's fun for the Braves.
Like when the Twins are in our division. I don't care. Go Twins. You're the lovable Twins. Go for it. Like, I hate the Tigers. Like, I don't mind the Twins. Whatever. They're the Twins. Target Field's great. I hate the White Sox.
Yeah.
Like, I hate the Yankees, but that's like cheering for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
This guy gets it. Man, that's just so soft.
I just find
pathetic.
it very funny that it's gotten that bad in Denver that kind of a comment is getting them excited.
That'd be like me being like, oh, gosh, I don't want Emporia to win. No, that guy gets it. Jake gets it.
Jake and his well-documented relationship with Emporia State.
Yeah, like did I want Pitt State to win the D2 title this year? They won the conference. They're in the playoffs. Did I want Pitt State to win it all? No! I wanted them to do well because it looks good for the MIAA, but I'd want them to lose like in the title game. I don't want them to win. Like, did you want Baylor to win? Did you want them to beat Gonzaga?
No.
No!
Unlike Scott Drew, I do not believe in having to cheer for the Big 12. A thing Brendan and I have taken many a shot at Scott Drew for.
And the reason why I wanted Baylor to win because it's the Big 12. But I
you don't have any
yes,
ties to the Big 12.
Whereas Sean Payton is the head coach of the like this is just come on.
Yeah, big shock. A coach of an AFC West team would rather the AFC West team in the Super Bowl lose.
Did you realize that Mike McCarthy doesn't want the Eagles to win? Wow.
Fascinating.
Just embarrassing on all accounts. But apparently, Russell Wilson's private coach in his office is not going to be allowed anymore.
Yeah, I will say that was entertaining when Sean Payton was asked about that, and he was like, that's foreign to me. That's not going to be a thing anymore. Like, that is my favorite part of this dynamic that I am very intrigued at watching going forward is how do Sean Payton and Russell Wilson work together?
Because Sean Payton thinks Sean Payton's the smartest person in the world.
He very much does. Smartest man in the world, according to Sean Payton, is Sean Payton.
And Russell Wilson, you know who Russell Wilson loves?
Russell Wilson.
He loves him some Russell Wilson. Mr.
You have two large egos that are going to find a way to coexist. And in sports, that often sometimes has to happen. And the great ones find a way to make it work.
The amount of gross fanboying from everyone in Denver during mini camp coming up and in
it's
fall
going to be
camp,
funny.
it's going to be gross.
I'm going to
vomit.
I'm going to laugh.
No, you won't.
Yeah, I will.
No, you won't laugh because you're going to be like,
I'm going to make fun of them.
Oh.
I'm going to be like, this is disgusting, but also you guys are really saying these things. I'm going to retweet these I'm going to keep the receipts so that I can make fun of you even more down the line.
It's bad.
It's funny.
So bad.
Things have gotten bad in Denver.
All right. Overreaction, proper reaction. Overreaction. KU getting nothing from Harrison McCullough is a sign of things to come.
I'm going to still put that in the overreaction camp because because the thing is, they don't just have to score points to be helpful. There are other things that they can do. Like, you do not need McCullough and Harris to always go for these 15 and 18 nights. You would like it, but I don't think you need it. You need them to just be effective in some way. Like, McCullough has had games where he's effective, scoring only like 7 points because his defense is useful. His passing comes in there. He's just not a traffic cop.
Mm-hmm.
Dwan Harris has had good games where he's scored like 6 points. But it's because the assist totals, it's the facilitation, it's the defense. He's a semblance of a threat to shoot where they can't, play complete off coverage on him. So I don't think that it's going to become a massive constant theme. I will very much agree, though. it is something to monitor. Like, if they do it again against Texas tonight, and it becomes constant to end the year, that's a massive problem. I still hold out a level of hope given the talent levels of Kevin McCullough and DeJuan Harris that they will not be completely ineffective traffic cones on a nightly basis going forward.
As of right now, it is an overreaction.
Yeah.
This game tonight does not count because it's at home. I want to know what they do on the road.
And I think that's the right way to put it. Is
on the road,
that's where they've struggled more than anything.
These guys haven't done anything in big games. K-State, Iowa State, they have done nothing.
Yeah. No, I think that's actually a very fair way to put it.
Now, if they do it against Texas at home, yes. But if they don't, it's still...
Yeah. No, I see your point there.
I expect you to play well at Allen Fieldhouse.
Yeah, you expect them to play well in the building. You know, in Allen, it's a lot different when it comes to the energies and things like that. No, I would agree with you there. Overreaction, proper reaction. The Big 12 is locked in, guaranteed. They're getting 8 teams in the tournament.
I said overreaction because lock at 8 is a bit strong. I think they are locked in at 7.
Okay.
That is the proper reaction.
Okay.
At 7. At 8, I'm going to say overreaction on the sheer words of lock.
Okay. No, that's fair.
I think right now there are 6 no-doubters. Texas, Iowa State, TCU, K-State, Baylor, KU. Those are the no-doubters. I think one of the others gets in, whether it be Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Oklahoma. I don't think Texas Tech's getting in. But I think one of the others will. So I will say overreaction for lock 8.
Okay, that is fair. Lenardi's last bracketology, he's not updated it for this week yet. So KU and K-State's losses are not accounted for from what happened on Saturday. He has 8 teams in. 2 are on the bubble as last 4 ends. It is Oklahoma State and West Virginia. The other 6 are all 4 seeds or better.
Yeah, it stands to reason.
That is unprecedented.
Yeah, I mean, right now TCU's ranked 17th, so I mean they're right there on the cusp of a 4 seed. So yeah, I see that.
That is just insane to me that they have 6 teams, 4 seeds or better, and more importantly, will cause a headache for the NCAA selection committee.
Not really. Here's the reason why. They can't play each other until the Elite 8. So you put 4 of them as a 4 seed, and then you put the other 2 as 2 seeds.
Well, it also comes down to spacing. Like, where are they all going to exist on parts of the bracket?
That don't matter. Put the 2 best teams in their spot and put everybody else wherever. It don't matter.
I mean, because the committee's rule is they are required that the top 4 teams from each conference must be in different regions.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, there's always a little bit of thing of like, where do the other ones go?
Put them at because right now, Texas and there's going to be somebody else is a 2 seed or a 3 seed. Does not matter. You got 4 seeds and 2 seeds ain't going to play each other, or 4 seeds and 3 seeds ain't going to play each other until the Elite 8. No. So it doesn't really matter.
That's fair.
Don't worry about that, Fulton.
I'm not worried about it. I just find it fascinating. Yeah. I'm not worried about it. I find it fascinating because if your top 4 teams are all 4 seeds or higher, they're required to be in separate regions. And so it's a fun little wrinkle that the Big 12 will have 2 extra teams that technically are going to be in a place that they normally wouldn't be.
Yeah, that happens though.
I will say, as of right now on this most recent one from February 3rd, K-State is a 3 seed in the Midwest region. The 4 seed in that region is Baylor.
Yeah, see, it works out perfect.
It works out. You can make it work, but it's just, I find it fascinating.
It works out perfect.
I find it
Who's the
fun.
1 seed?
In that region, that 1 seed is Alabama.
Whew, I like that.
As of this writing, again, on the 3rd, this is prior to KU and K-State's most recent losses, your 1 seeds are Purdue in the South, Alabama in the Midwest, Houston in the West, Kansas in the East.
It won't be the case anymore.
That will probably be much different when he updates this.
Texas
in
will be a 1 seed.
a few days. Yes, Texas, as of this writing, is a 2 seed in the South.
Yeah.
Which means they're probably the top 2 lines, so they probably will jump to a 1 if they win tonight. They might even still jump to a 1.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yep. Coming up next, the Chiefs have been working for this since the day Patrick Mahomes was drafted. We'll get to that coming up. Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated. The Kansas City Chiefs have been preparing for this moment when they would have a quarterback on a very large cap hit since the day they drafted Patrick Mahomes. Since the day they drafted him. Today's era of football off the field is simple. You win a Super Bowl with either a quarterback on a rookie deal, or you have a Hall of Fame quarterback. That is how you win a Super Bowl. Sometimes it's both. Let's look at the last few Super Bowls. Last year might be the anomaly, but Matt Stafford might end up in the Hall of Fame.
I hate that we have to have that conversation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Matt Stafford is basically Phillip Rivers, but with a Super Bowl title.
Yeah, that actually might be the best way ever to put it.
I mean, look at the last Super Bowl winners. Bucks, they had Tom Brady, Hall of Famer. Chiefs had Patrick Mahomes, rookie contract. Now going to be Hall of Famer. But that's what you have to do, because you either have to have somebody who's going to will your team to a win, and someone who's going to say, what about Nick Foles, Jake? What about Nick Foles? Do you know who the quarterback was for the Eagles for the first, 14 games that year?
Of the Eagles Super Bowl win?
Mm-hmm.
Carson Wentz.
On a
rookie contract.
You were able to spend a lot of money elsewhere. That's why it's so important to take advantage of those rookie deals. Because look at what's going to happen with the Bengals. It's already starting for the Bengals. And we told you this. I told you this. How are you going to handle having your offense, which is essentially a quarterback and 2 wide receivers? Can't pay all 3 of them. Not when they're all 3 in the passing game. You can't do it. You can do quarterback, wide receiver, lineman, but you can't do quarterback, wide out. Can't do it. Congratulations, Bengals. Congratulations, Bills. You are now in Chiefs territory. The unfortunate thing, you don't have a Super Bowl title. Brant Tillis, salary cap guru. We just drafted a quarterback in the first round. We need to start thinking about his next contract. We have to plan for him to be great. And he wasn't even named the starter yet. The Chiefs have been planning for this moment. And that's the reason why that they went and they traded Tyreek Hill. They said, we've got the guy at quarterback. No reason. Much like how the Packers have done it with Aaron Rodgers. Everybody's clamoring. Why don't they draft so-and-so? Why don't they draft so-and-so? Why don't they draft so-and-so? Get him some help. Get him some help. Get him some help. They did. They had one guy, Devontae Adams, and they spent elsewhere because they said Aaron Rodgers is that good. The difference is that the Packers just couldn't get over the NFC title game, bugaboo. That's the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, they had no business losing last year to the 49ers. Or not the 49ers. The 49ers.
Yeah, 49ers.
They had no business losing them last year. And that's why the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill. Reading this article from Sports Illustrated makes me so firmly entrenched that the Chiefs put out there, we offered him a great contract. We wanted to keep him. Deep down inside in those walls, if those walls could talk, I don't think they wanted to keep Tyreek Hill because they go, we can't do it. Paying a wide receiver $28 million a year to the cap is too much. Not when we think 15 can make, bang for your buck better. The good old question, do we think 3 players are better than 1? Especially when we think that 1 player is going to help those 2 players be better and add a 3rd. What's better to have on your team? What would be better for the Chiefs? MVS, George Karlaftis, Trent McDuffie, those 3 combined, or Tyreek Hill? They chose those 3 guys because we think 15 is going to get it done. And they traded him to the Dolphins because they wanted multiple guys.
Yeah, they wanted a lot of picks.
They said
wanted quantity.
Yeah, we don't want just the number 10th pick. No, we want the number 30th pick, and we want the number 65th pick, and we want the number 100th round pick.
We hoard draft capital because we need a lot of cheap young talent. We need a lot of chances to get this right.
Yeah, and it's worked.
Yeah, it has. Really has.
And this article says it says Mahomes, Kelsey, and Jones repeatedly. from Brett Veach. Jones ain't going anywhere. I will be very surprised if they don't extend Chris Jones. Coming up next, we'll wrap things up with the mic drop. Time for the mic drop on this Monday. Fulton, say something positive about the Hawks tonight.
It's very simple. Kevin McCullough, DeJuan Harris, got a game tonight. Tip-off's at 8. Don't be late. Hawks.
The best quarterback that the Eagles defense has faced is Dak Prescott.
Yeah, it is.
Second best quarterback they faced was fourth game under new coach Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
They faced Daniel Jones twice, an injured Brock Purdy. That's it. I'm fascinated to see how this Eagles defense does against the best. Coming up, 580 Sports Talk. We'll talk to you tomorrow at noon. Enjoy Super Bowl opening night.